Hi there, David here from daviddumaiaudio.com, and in this video, we'll be creating a gory sword stab sound effect. Alright, so welcome back to the channel. If you are new here and you are a sound designer, I have a gift for you. It is my 5 layering techniques guide. It is a guide of various techniques I use to create better sound effects. So if you want to grab it, it'll be free. Links will be in the description below. Alright, so for this clip that we're going to redesign, I chose a clip from the game Middle-earth: Shadow of Mordor. And the reason why I chose that one is because it's one of the very few Lord of the Rings games that I've actually never played. So I grew up with Lord of the Rings. I was always a big Lord of the Rings fan. And for some reason or other, I never actually played this game. So I really wanted to challenge myself to look at the game and download a clip and see if I can redesign it without kind of having that influence of that game. So that's what we're going to be doing in this redesign. I'll be going over the different layers I use, the gore layers, the sword sound layers, and also the cinematic effects layers. Kind of interesting. Let's get into our project. All right, so here we are inside of Reaper, and what I'm going to do is I'm just going to play you the clip so we know what we're working with here, and just have a listen and remember those kind of 3 categories of sounds that I talked about. So the sword sounds, the gore sounds, and then the cinematic effects sounds. See if you can hear them in context of the little clip here. So this is the redesign. All right, so let's jump in. We'll start here with the first sword stab, which is right here. So the few things happening here. First is we have the sword stab. And this is just me scraping a bunch of sword sounds, as you can probably hear just by itself. Bit of EQ just to brighten up the sound so it sounds a bit sharper, and that's it. Next, we have this sound here. And this is a gore sound. Like I said, I was using my mouth for this. I basically did a whole bunch of like weird mouth noises, like layered them together, and this is one of the sounds I created. Next, we have this sound here. Again, another gore sound, and this was just with a kick and some gore sounds, and layered them together and dropped it in here. All right, finally, we have this sound. This is the sound of the character dying, just to add a bit more realism and life to the redesign here. All I'm using here is dehumanizer and pitch shifting it down by 6. That's it. So all together for this initial first stab, we have this. All right, let's go into the second stab here. Let's start with the first layer here. Again, more sword, knife scraping sounds that I recorded, layered them together until I got some really thick layers of scrape sounds. Next layer. Again, another just gore sound. Again, using my mouth, I just did a whole bunch of like those kinds of sounds. I layered it with a whoosh, and this is what you get. So now all together, we have this. Let's play it with the first one. All right, next we have our cinematic effects sound. And there's quite a few layers to this. It's not going to be cinematic right away, but let's have a listen to what we have here. Right, so this is the sound of the sword thrusting into the chest. Again, same idea here, using my mouth to make these noises and just layering them together until I get this thick sound. Next layer. This is the sword scrape with the sword hit sound. So the hit sound, you get that ring at the end. And then before getting that ring sound, I just did a scrape into the ring sound. So these are 2 layers basically layered together until I get this sound. So far we have this. Next layer. This is a ringing sound because I really wanted to make this cinematic. So this is a sword ring sound by hitting 2 knives together. And basically I just cut out the front of it so you don't get that impact, the impact. All you get is the ring sound. And then I added quite a few plugins here. We have M Transformer for frequency shifting, Uber Loud to bring out some of the highs and lows, Recenter to center the sound, and that's it. Next layer we have this. Another ring sound to layer with this first one. So let's go over the plugins used to create that sound. I have N Transformer to frequency shift and pitch shift the sound up. ROM Reverb to add tail to the sound. Uber Loud to bring out some of the highs and lows. Gain to balance the sound. And Recenter. And you can see here, I'm also modulating the volume over time and the reverb mix so that the tail is more natural. So far, this is what we have. Next, this is where we have our cinematic sub drop. Let's have a listen with no effects. Just a plain sub drop. It's missing a lot of space, a lot of reverb, and a lot of sub in it. So what I added is Enforcer. This is a preset here, drop E bass slide preset, and it's basically a bass drop. It's layering a bass drop on top of a bass drop. Let's have a listen. Sounds great. Next, I added ROM to just make it big and in a space. And here's our final layer. And this is just a glitch impact sound effect. Added Enforcer here just to add some impact and some sub to it. And Track Spacer just to blend it in with the other effects so that there was no masking. And that's it. This just to add extra crunch, extra impact to the sound. So now all together, this is what we have. All right, finally, we have the last sword stab when he pulls the sword out from the character here. Let's have a listen. So this is a really gory one. Again, using my mouth, making noises, layering them together, offsetting them as well so that they're not all on top of each other, but they're all having kind of this rhythm to them, and then processing them. And now here it is. Next layer. Again, sword scrapes, and I'm using recenter here just to position the sound in the stereo field. Final layer is just a whoosh for that sword coming out of the body. Altogether, this is what we have. Very, very gory sound. The final layer here that we have is a special one, and this is just to add tension as the character is getting stabbed in the chest. And this is a reverse sound, so let's have a listen to the sound here without the reverse. Sounds like this. So this was an impact sound that I had created, and I added some extra sweeteners here, like M Transformer, Destroyer preset, as well as Recenter to narrow the sound, Track Spacer to remove any masking with other frequencies, and Faceplant, this is how I created or imported the sound, and then I printed it out on here. So now let's have a listen to this in the context of the full mix. All right, so that's it for this video. I hope you found it useful and valuable and you learned something new. Hopefully you like to see how I layer my sounds together and how effective it was to actually create all those gore sounds with just my mouth. I think it was pretty cool and effective without having to go and like record some like vegetables and fruits and whatever stuff like that. I just using my mouth, I can get some pretty good effects. So if you want to see like a full tutorial, just let me know. Maybe I'll make a full tutorial about how I did that with only using my mouth. And also if you want to see more videos like this and actually maybe this full redesign that I did for this little clip of this game, just check it in the cards above. I'll put a link where I'll be posting a video in the coming weeks or so on that. So I think that's it for now. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.